Hello and welcome back. We're still here with Gl.iNet and looking at some brand new devices. We're still here in Shenzhen, and luckily we've been able to have a sneak peek at some of the new stuff coming out in Q1 2026. Now, pretty much all of this they were planning to fully officially reveal during their CES event. I think this might be their second CES, it might be their third, sorry about that. Also, behind this blue book here, there is a thing I'm not allowed to show you. And I'm trying to figure out ways throughout the course of this video that I'm going to be able to, and I don't think I will, but there is a thing behind there that pretty much everyone has asked about, that you've been asking from this brand. So I look forward to in a few months when we're allowed to talk about that. But let's talk about this. We've got ourselves a brand new Wi-Fi 7 router. We've got ourselves a new portable router. Do you remember the Beryl? I still love that name. We'll talk about the Beryl 7. We've got a new VPN server gateway device here, taking advantage of the Ethernet connectivity. Do you remember the Slate 7, that design aesthetic? This is their new LTE version. So this is the Comet LTE. This is a combination of SIM assisted but KVM device here. So much like the Comet Pro, this device arrives with that quad-core CPU. It's got the same CPU, same memory, same storage capabilities of that. It also arrives with the same network connectivity, HDMI out and in, and connected via USB power. It isn't PoE, that's really, really important there. It's also Wi-Fi 6, not Wi-Fi 7, but what it does have featured inside it is a SIM slot. So it does everything that the Comet Pro, that those that back the crowdfunding and when it goes to eventual retail have got. So you've got the real screen there that's got the IP there and the Wi-Fi connectivity. But what this brings to the fold isn't just failover, which is obviously hugely beneficial. The idea that you have got, whether you're going to have this back in your office, your suite where you work from, the ability, if the internet's down, you can still access it thanks to having a SIM card slot there. But if you are someone, you know, you're a sysadmin, you're an engineer, and you're arriving on site and you need to connect it, and you don't want to fiddle around with getting it on the local network, you don't want to be restricted by network protocols and security settings that are in place, it allows you to have a pre-established connection there for you to deploy this. So there's just two user case scenarios where I can definitely see a user taking advantage of this and allowing them to have a KVM device that I know a lot of you, whether it is you went for one of Gl.iNet's KVMs or others, that have these inside your work bag for you to deploy on site, on job to job, for something you may have to do 24, 48 hour monitoring. This just allows you to have a better failover. And remember, it still has the Wi-Fi and the direct Ethernet connectivity there. It's a shame about the lack of PoE, but again, it's almost certainly going to ship with that PoE adapter or injector or something like that. But again, we do have prototype devices here as well, so not everything here is final apparently. Now, alongside that, let's get this open. Hopefully we've not broken a bunch of rules by doing that. This is the Beryl 7. Now, for those that aren't aware, the Beryl was, I would argue, one of the earliest major hits by this brand. The Beryl was their travel router. It had an incredibly low power consumption. It took advantage of Wi-Fi 6, and it was effectively a combination travel router and easy VPN gateway. It had that little clickable switch there on board, and effectively allowed you at the very quick touch of a button to have a, you know, all of your devices, your phone, your tablet, your PC, your laptop, your whatever on the go, and it allowed you to have all of those devices going to a central Wi-Fi point that you, with a physical click of a button or using their software, have access to a VPN. What this does is it brings the same feature set and just scales things up. So arriving, going back to my notes, with that quad-core processor inside that we've seen recently used in their newest generation routers, this device also arrives with 1 gigabyte of DDR, I believe, 3 memory there. I've got to double check that memory. I don't know about the storage capabilities, but it arrives with dual 2.5 gig ports there. And again, that is WAN and LAN, or you can set them both as LAN if you choose. It's got Wi-Fi 7 connectivity, and we'll return to that in a moment. It's also dual band, and it's effectively the same thing. It weighs a little bit more. I will say I can definitely feel the weight difference. Why do I know that? Because I've got one of these in my suitcase. This takes advantage of the same USB connectivity, the same USB-C power delivery system there, so whether it is you're going to power it off your laptop or a power bank. But it's that Wi-Fi 7 connectivity, I think, that people are going to be interested in. Now, I'm going to have to break it to you. It doesn't support 6 gigahertz, and I know there are a lot of users out there that believe a Wi-Fi 7 device without 6 gigahertz support, well, it ain't Wi-Fi 7. And of course, I understand you're not going to get that full bandwidth, but it's not a deal breaker as far as I'm concerned. A lot of users, one of the reasons that the Wi-Fi 7 capabilities are here, although not the Wi-Fi 7 bandwidth, once you reach 320 megahertz packets in the 60 gigahertz band there, you can still take advantage of the way the packet management is managed on this. So for example, this allows you, with that dual band support of MLO, multi-link output, to combine a lot of those performance numbers. The tech number for this, and I'm getting that, is Gl.iNet 3600BE, and that is because the Wi-Fi 7 management improvement of channel width at 4K mean that this will provide 2,882 megabits per second on the 5 gigahertz band, and just on the 2.4 gigahertz band, 688 megabits per second. So again, if this was standard Wi-Fi 6, you wouldn't hit those numbers. So even if you don't have a Wi-Fi 7 system, or at least you do have a Wi-Fi 7 system, this doesn't need to be Wi-Fi 7 to not get better performance on it than the original Beryl. I'm not suggesting this is as good as a Wi-Fi 7 6 gigahertz version, but it is still a notable scale up on both internal hardware and external bandwidth compared to the original Beryl there. And pricing wise, they're saying that they're trying to aim pretty much squarely, like for like, factoring in inflation, the same pricing they went for the original. Again, that's still TBC, and you'll learn more about that during the CES event, but it's still interesting to see. Now, one of the main reasons a lot of users go for a device like this is because of that VPN capability. Now, one of the things they're going to be rolling into this, and indeed into this that we're going to talk about in a moment, called the Broom. This is the Broom 3. I refer to it as the Broom, the old TV show. Come on. And this is going to be supporting that open source VPN, Amnesia. You're going to be able to have that natively on this. So that is effectively a free VPN included with these. So it's going to allow you to have on your local home system or your office system a VPN server with your devices being connected to it, and then on the go, you've got your portable VPN for all of your devices, be it for standard, data transmission, whether you're going to be using a mail server connected to it. It's a neat little proposition. I didn't find out much about the pricing on the Broom 3. It's arriving with pretty much standard network connectivity there. And again, I don't know if this is coming out a fraction later. It seemed this is slightly, in terms of development there, perhaps, I'm not sure if they're all rolling out at the same time, or it's going to be a staged release there. But still, that's kind of where those products sit in the new market chain. If you did, and I'm not sure if it's live yet, the headquarters tour, one of the things I've discussed with the team here is when they've gone with the color palette, and when they've gone and chosen some of the colors, and they've gone for these nice pastels. Again, I know it's not going to be for everyone, but I quite like these colors. You don't see this color palette in IT that much. Now, this. Now, again, much like we mentioned before with the Beryl, I know this isn't going to be for everyone, and those that went and bought the Flint 3, so that was their tri-band Wi-Fi 7 router. This is a dual band version of that. So again, this is effectively the same device with the scale up in hardware, of course, over other Flints. But this doesn't have that 6 gigahertz band. So again, I know there's going to be users that go, well, that ain't Wi-Fi 7. But again, it almost certainly means that it's going to be more affordable, and also for those that aren't scaling up towards those true full-fat Wi-Fi 7 devices, or they're in regions where a lot of the channels are restricted. One of the things we have in the UK, for example, is the actual 6 gigahertz frequency. You can't access a lot of it. I mean, again, we talked about it in other videos. This is probably on the table, I would say, the device that the people are going to be the least excited about, but I do still think there is a market for it. Fully fledged 2.5 GBE on the 1 WAN and the 4 LAN. It has the same failover capabilities, USB connectivity and more. It doesn't have the physical VPN switch. I know people love that about some of the Pooley stuff. But that's really it in terms of some of the products that they're going to be talking about going into that CES event in Q1 2026. Again, I would love to talk more about this thing behind here. Let's dance around it. Imagine all the things that we've discussed that we want in a kind of device that a brand like doing well. This brand you would expect from this brand. I would argue pretty much every box is ticked on the thing behind that book. So although I can't talk about it, I will say that when it comes to the CES event, maybe look out for it. And all of these, it sounds like, as mentioned, they're all going to be rolling out on traditional retail, from what I understand, they're going to be shown off during CES and then made available during Q1. But again, TBC, TBC. But thank you so much for watching. Again, any questions apart from that thing, let's talk about it below. And apart from that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.